The problem we have with this government, and those who speak for the president, those I call a raucous band of noisy aides, is that they have nothing to tell the people. Leave Mr. Obi-Kwankwaso and other leaders of the opposition alone. Focus that the next election, you cannot rhetoricize this gamble that the president has to do it again. He must come there with a calling card. This is what this president has accomplished. The opposition can rhetoricize it. When we do this, we will do that, we give you heaven and earth, we give you Dorado. The people may buy it. But they will not buy this for you to say, hello, hold it there. This is what the president has accomplished. But he can't do that because he has to run on his record. That record is shabby and for me, shameful in many regards. He has even taken the failures of the Buhari presidency, embraced it and taken it to a higher level of glory, or not just glory, of infamy. Correct word. On the economic front, disaster. On the security front, disaster. On living standard front, disaster. On people's sense of self, of sense of prosperity, of welfare, of identifying themselves as Nigeria, disaster. Every single thing this is.
Peter Obi and Rabbi Musa Kwankwaso, they just left the coalition political party ADC and they've joined the NDC. Incidentally, they had their convention at the NDC yesterday. How did this exit from the ADC, how did they come to you? And what's your take on this entire situation?
The Nigerian political process, in fact, indeed, the entire democratic system is convulsing. This period is very fluid. The fluid nature of the political environment demands or necessitates various forms of movements by different political players who are acutely aware that to survive this harsh political environment, they need to mutate and adapt. So what Peter Obi and Kwankwaso did is to mutate and adapt, given the challenges carefully produced and curated by the Tinubu presidency that has captured the Nigerian state using instrumentalities of power and apparatuses of coercion, range from INEC, the court system, judicial authorities, and so on, to diminish liberal democratic conversation and possibly multi-party contestation for power. So when you do that, what do people do? We have the ancient wisdom that when hunters have learned to shoot without missing their mark, the birds will learn to fly without pitching on a twig. So this hunter is the presidency and the APC and INEC. They've learned carefully to shoot without missing their mark. So B and Kwankwaso have learned to fly without pitching on a twig. PDP exploded, not imploded. It was externally induced explosion. But the party is rebounding in some sort of form now, post the Supreme Court judgment. For 2 years, a vicious war was levied on the party. Most of these leading lights and other opposition figures migrated to the ADC. It's okay, ADC is our new home. Let us carefully build this new home. Let us have a transition from the old order in ADC to a new leadership. And that was successfully done. INEC monitored every process of that transition. Everything was deposited with them. All the records of meetings, all the resolutions and everything. Suddenly, Professor Mahmoud left office and Professor Mopeton came in. Things began to unravel. Our Appeal Court gave a judgment, gave a ruling, and INEC, against every known legal advice, interpreted the ruling to suit the ruling party and suit Amopeton's INEC. With another court judgment declaring the legacy chairman as those who are actually owners of the party, not David Mark or Iboshala. With another case pending somewhere, with appeal to the Supreme Court, the air of uncertainty was thick. Politicians do not like uncertainty. You like stability and certainty. So that's what Peter Obi and Kwankwaso did. They needed to move to NDC, a new formation, ideologically grounded. Because I know the founder of NDC, Senator Dixon, His Excellency, former governor of Ayasa State and Cities Senator, way back in the AD Alliance for Democracy days. They were warrior in the struggle. Put together this very strong, ideologically, grounded, philosophically envisioned party, and beacon on Obi and Kwankwaso and other leading lights of the position to come and help him build it. So that's why they gravitated there, started building this new formation. They had their convention last Saturday. It was a resounding success, and incredibly, like most other parties, the PDP, for example, even the APC with the Tinubu as the president, and a few others said, the presidency had to stay in the South for the 27 to 31 cycle. They affirmed that, that reality of how would they live, balance power and balance the appetite of power. How would they have an inclusive political environment so that everybody have a sense of belonging? Let the presidency stay in the South to 2031 and thereafter it journeys to the North. NDC accomplished that on Saturday.
Brilliant. Thanks for your opening remarks. So, Prof, one of the reasons adduced by Mr. Peter Obi for his exit from the ADC coalition, amongst others, includes number one, the APC ruling party and the government's machinations. Also, toxicity within the coalition itself, internal wranglings, mutual suspicions, and then disunity, and all of those. These reasons, how do they sound to you? Are they germane? Are they plausible?
There are two environments in politics: the external environment and the internal environment. Members of a political party will deal with the internal environment, the situations, the circumstances, the conditions, the issues within the party as an organic formation. That means if there are contestations within the party, if there are disputes within the party, if there are tendencies within the party or factions within the party, members of the party will do no more about that than those who operate from the external environment. I'm not a member of ADC. I was not a member. I'm still not a member. So I may not be privy to the internal wranglings and contestations and disputations and the toxic environment he described. But I do know that from the outside, which is the external environment, I operate from being an analyst and a Nigerian patriot, to know that political parties in the country are not deep with regard to coherent ideological premise or philosophical direction. That means it's a patch-up of different tendencies and different formations. People come from the radical, the conservative, and so on. People come from different geographies or geopolitical alliances. So it is difficult to blend easily. And some will have some, sense of entitlement within these formations. So this could be possibly what Mr. Peter Obi, must have alluded to. Well, being a member of the party, he will have this information far more than myself. He's not a member of the party. What I do know is that the reasons he gave in terms of the toxic environment on the outside, the way and manner the Bola Tinubu presidency, the APC government as a whole, and institutions of the state, apparatuses of the state, are working extra hard, non-stop, to diminish multi-party democracy, destroying the liberal political spirit. That was unfurled like a banner on the country in 1999. That is frightening. So if you cannot survive within a party that is racked by legal challenges, today ABC has a lot of legal challenges. It is a happy moment that the names of the chairman and secretary have been restored to the INEC portal. But you see how the Supreme Court, aspect of that judgment to stay content with. The matter has to go back to High Court. They may even crawl up to Appeal Court. There's another judgment altogether that only the state chairman, who are legacy chairman, will have a say in who is elected in the congresses and convention. These are multiple issues that no politician is going to find himself entangled with. So he gave that substantive reason why he needed to find a party with less encumbrances, a party with less issues to deal with, a party with less institutional challenges to grapple with. That's exactly why the movement of called to NDC, and that's a brilliant move. The way Amanda here and Kwankwaso came together, almost like two souls merging as one, two spirits forming together, in unity of the North and the South. 1914, the birth of Nigeria, even though it was not organic birth, it was imposed birth. But that birth is still with us over 100 years. So from the North, from the South, the merging of forces, to say the unity of this country will be the unity of the South and the unity of the North to produce a greater national unity. Obi and Kwankwaso represent this new formation, this new search for national inclusive politics, national inclusive direction for the sake of our democracy and the prosperity of the nation.
Three counter narratives have emerged since Peter Obi left. Different sorts of narrative, but I've summarized into three. Number one, inability to, or an unwillingness to face contest within any political structure. And people have traced his political trajectory from ABGA to Labour to PDP and now ADC. That he's the spoiled child of Nigerian politics. He loves to be handed freebies on the platter. Second narrative, this old idea of North-South power rotation is not constitutional. It's a political arrangement within the PDP. I'm not even sure it is codified in any of the other political parties. So, and also, if you look at it, people have said the South has actually had power for 20 years now, if you have Tinubu, as against the North, just 10 years. And then finally, that's why is Mr. Peter Obi unwilling to build a political party, like other great people have done, great politicians, Awolowo, Nnamdi Azikiwe, and the list, even Tinubu, like him or hate him, builds a political party. Peter Obi should have stayed in Labour, builds Labour. Can you respond to this, Prof?
Very simple. Number one, we talked about Mr. Peter Obi jumping ship at every point in time. Let's trace the history. APOGA emerged as a regionalist response to an overarching sense of dispossession or lack of historical restitution for a people who lost the Civil War. It was not pretentious about its identity as a small regional party, in spite of having some bearings in the North and the West. There's no way it can power a greater national vision or presidential aspiration or dream using such a vehicle. So he served his 2 terms as the governor of Anambra State and then worked for Jonathan briefly as an honorary advisor on financial matters, if you recall, and became under the deputy DG of his presidential campaign 2015. That's when he caught his teeth within the national sphere. From there, he became now integral within the PDP platform and became the running mate of Att cking 2019. Willingly submitted himself to be a running mate of the candidate of the party. That is being part of the party already built. Part of that process of re-engineering the party, moving the party forward. 2023 was very spectacular. The party's refusal, that is PDP refusal, to zone the presidency to the South, to officially pronounce it. That if you are not from the South, you should not contest for the primaries of the party. And if you do so, you are actually enjoying, inflicting injury on a sense of elite cohesion. There's something we call elite consensus. If you don't build it, you can't build national consensus. PDP failed to build it in 2023. So he saw through all that this kind of charade will produce a predictable end. The implosion of the party if care is not taken. He took a walk and started building a small party called Labour Party. He stood there to build a party. He infused energy and dynamics on that party. The sense of charisma, that sense of populism was what galvanized a party that was relatively unknown. He created a building movement, or they created a movement around him, the building movement, with the small structure the party has to power through 2023 that many even predicted or many even saw that he may have won the election or he didn't win the election. There's a speculation. The figures were changed and altered here, so we don't even know whether he won that election. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. But to do that in less than a year, remarkably, done within a year, for me, is almost like possibly somebody call that a miracle.
Or spectacular.
A spectacular miracle of our time. Now, what happened? The government saw through that if he didn't get it fully done in 2023, pronounce the president-elect, sworn in, he will do it in 2027. What did they do? They invaded the space of the Labour Party, emasculated the genuine members there, and empowered a leadership that was foreign to it. It is that sense of splitting the party into 2 or 3 pieces. Not because the party could not stand entirely as a coherent force, but there was a external pressure to do so. I don't usually mention people's names. We know who these people are. So what will you do? When the party has completely been emasculated, we'll find a new home. What is that new home? That home has to be, as I said, the assemblage of the people. The new conversation among the elite, and they formed the ADC. He was prepared to stay with the ADC, and he didn't leave because he did not want to build a home there. When we have deep legal challenges, we are witnesses to these legal challenges. They have not gone away. I'm not saying that those in ADC are making a spectacular mistake, or possibly will be haunted by whatever decision they are taking now. But any wise political player in Nigeria would understand that this government is authoritarian in nature, illiberal in composition, and directs contestation for power. That means it will do everything possible to ensure that this ADC is frustrated. And they say going ahead to say, judge will be changed and so on. There, the speculation, what's going to happen, we assign the judge handling the case, we're going to slow down the process, delay the time. He's now gone to NDC to build a new party with other members of the Nigerian family. I believe this home was left alone by the government, and that is why we're screaming aloud. There are wastelands in our midst. There are later day, moralists who are against the NDC. There are those banding with their loud mouth in the media, talking frantically to bring the party down. There are those who cannot even be investigated in terms of adequacy of moral imperative, who are saying the party should be brought down. There are those asking the government directly to bring this party down. We are warning, let this party be. Not for the sake of P2B or Obi-Kwankwaso, but for the sake of the head of our democracy. We are saying any judge that is procured or created to do this as a job should think twice. Nigerians are watching and they're tired of this repeated judicial intervention. When that is done, Mr. P2B, Dr. Kwankwaso, and the rest of the leaders and members of the vanguard of NDC will stay firm in the party, grow the party as a brand, deepen its infrastructure, get it ready for the next election, and possibly be sworn in when they win decisively January 2027.
That's a long way. That's a long shot.
Oh, that's not my prediction.
It's a long shot.
Long shot, I know.
Well, I mean, hope is eternal. Hope eternal.
Yes.
Absolutely. Now, some commentators, particularly those who were very, very close, formerly very, very close to Mr. Peter Obi, have come out at various times, but a couple of them just last week, to give very strong chastisement of Mr. Peter Obi, his leadership, not moral or whatever, but just leadership. One of them is his former vice presidential candidate, Yusuf Dati Ahmed, who said the way he left ADC does not portray him in good leadership stead. Beyond that, Mr. Kenneth Okonkwo, his former spokesperson, was even more strident and more, for want of a better, phrase, more critical, more condemning of Mr. Peter Obi, and in fact went ahead to say he has buried his political, future by decamping from the ADC to the NDC. What do you say about this?
Now, let me put it this way. There's an ancient saying. Yes, there's an ancient saying. Sometimes they say these ancient wisdoms are tried
And tested.
No, but true.
Yeah.
That great minds discuss ideas, average minds event, and small minds discuss people. I don't know how Nigerians look at me, whether I'm the average mind, a small mind, or a great mind. Great many Nigerians, at the risk of being modest, consider me a great mind. So I'm not talking about individuals. They're not important in this conversation of national survival. We're dealing with a vicious government that is ready to torpedo the sweat, not just of our founding fathers and mothers, the sweat of those of us who genuinely fought for democracy. If care is not taken, our duty is to use the extra legal constitutional means at our disposal to ensure, and peaceful too, that this democracy survives. That is far more important, than the way and manner people talk, either ill or good of individuals. Even God himself is not spared, or Christ, or Muhammad, any of the great moral forces. But as humans, we don't compare ourselves to them. I'm saying even them. How about we mortals? So whether we are right or wrong, people will do that. So that's not important. What is important is the dedication of your heart and soul, the clarity of your vision, your moral stature or strength that will drive your movement. That's what P2B is all about. That matter is settled in that regard. Well, back again to what you talked about zoning. It nearly escaped me. Zoning is not in the Constitution.
Yeah.
But many things are not in the Constitution. Is the geopolitical zone in the Constitution? I don't think it's in the Constitution. Please, fact check me whether the geopolitical zone, 6 of them, are constitutionalized.
Only 8 states. Sorry, 36 states.
So why are we not doing things on geopolitical zones? Even most of the appointments are constitutional in nature. Even most of the selections of board members and commissions and so on. Even most of the patronage is given. Even ministers now appointed on geopolitical basis after the state in a composition. They now say one for a geopolitical zone. I remember one of the presidents. So that will tell you that the fetish of the Constitution is what has led many nations astray. Ujo Madepo of blessed memory said on air, if a president exercises 30% of his or her powers, he becomes a monster. That means the rest 70 will be forbearance, toleration, and sense of inclusion. That means conventions and the things that power a system. Why is it that Bola Tinubu's running mate is not from Ogun State? I'm asking you, Olawale. Why is his running mate not from Ogun State and the current vice president? Why is he from the North? No, but it's not in the Constitution.
It is not.
He can be his wife. Why do you think it's important that he's from the North? So whoever tells you there's no zoning in the Constitution, tell the person that this is a conventional arrangement by people at moments in history and time in order to create balance stability, and sense of inclusion. And zoning does not, origin of power, in a way affects or destabilizes the essence of competence and experience. I've said it, I don't know whether with you, but on several other forums, I said, in my village of Mbo, in our local government area of Tinubu State, Nigeria, we have close to 20, 30 serving professors. We have over 100 doctorate holders. We have engineers, we have doctors, we have pharmacists, we have accountants. We can form 5 solid federal cabinet. One village, not local government area. We can form the cabinet of professors from different fields, competent to run the country. An entire southern Nigeria cannot produce a president and other competent people because it's not in the constitution. There's no way they contradict one another. There's no way there's a dichotomy between zoning and competence and experience. So what happens is that, how do you run a system that everybody feels comfortable to be part of? How do you ensure that what Buhari did and what Tinubu has intensified and consolidated of an insular, Barakboy kind of arrangement that is close everyone, that the presidential power constituency has been captured by one ethnic group, that the financial and economic foundation of the state captured by one ethnic group, that even what they call the criminal justice system and the apparatus of defense and security captured again by one ethnic group, and the list is endless. The problem there is when you there's even an absurd citation of Malami, former Attorney General. The chief complainant is the president. He's Yoruba. The Attorney General, they replaced him from Kwara, but the name is Yoruba anyway. The DGDSS that investigated him is who? Tosin Ajayi. The public prosecutor of the Federation is Yoruba. The lawyer assigned by the EFCC to prosecute is Yoruba. 5. Incredibly. Then you have the guy in charge of immigration, Comptroller General, is Kenny Nandab. Oh, he's from Plateau. He's not Plateau, he's Yoruba woman. I even heard that the Palm Secretary from Zamfara State, go check, my Zamfara man is Yoruba. And Obi-Kwankwaso is from Kogi. Look at the name. For the name from Kwara, look at the name. The GMD of NNPC from Kwara, look at the name. There's a careful, deliberate intentionality afoot here to not only ensure that the commanding height of the economy, but the commanding heights of federal institutions, whether it is central bank, whether it is the Ministry of Finance and Economy of the economy, whether it is customs, as I said, immigration, what is FIRX? That is what zoning is about. And rotation of power is about. That's what Obasanjo is today, regarded as a pan-national leader who provided for his people from the Southwest, the IGP and the DGDSS, and a few other top people in that security sector who gave the North Central. Some like General Danjuma from the North Central. No, from the Northeast. Then from the North Central, his chief of staff, later General Abdullahi, and from the Northwest, General Guzo, they were generals in that very delicate tentative era of 1999, when we're not sure this democracy will work. They needed the military to reinforce it, or ex-military to reinforce it. They still spread them. Then for the economic side, you have the Soludo, you have the Gonjiwala, and so on. Balanced. Here I do a deeply that sense of balance, and Jonathan sustained it until Buhari came calling. And the Senate Parliament Tinubu has now taken to a higher level of logic this decapitation of the sense of national cohesion and national balance and national stability to a peculiar mode of an insular, parabolic arrangement of power.